I think we'll find out at 11:30 today whether we have to fly early or whatever the case may be. But so yeah, that's nature. We know games can change, and obviously getting down to games can change. So and getting back from games, as Richmond appreciated last week. So yeah, we'll deal with that when we know more about it. It's probably no different to what you do travelling to Perth, going that extra day. So yeah, it's not a massive upheaval. Some of the younger fellas, throughout the year that have played most of the games, for example, Zach Smith, I can say right now he won't train and won't play. He's going to have a rest. His ankle's okay. Again, in 2 or 3 years' time, he probably would play when I'd play him, of course. But right now, I don't think there's much point in risking him any further damage. So a bit tight in the hamstrings, a bit sore in the back, all that sort of stuff. So I think that's his body telling us that he needs a rest. So he's certainly one that I could say right now that won't play. We want to maintain that enthusiasm, his bounce, his punch, all those sorts of things. As I said, just when the little niggles start to go, and he probably hasn't seen the physio as much as he has over even the last few weeks, well, again, that's a flag for us. That's to say, well, maybe the wear and tear is just starting to bite into him, and said we prefer to stop him before he gets over the hill, stop him on the way up, give him a week off, and then he might be able to again play the rest of the season. Who knows? But as I said, it's a case-by-case situation, and that's why we rushed Josh Fraser back, knowing that this is probably going to happen sooner rather than later. He probably 20% in the ruck against West Coast, again 40% on the weekend. So Josh would pick up the mantle of ruck. He'd be our number one ruck, and then Dan Gorringe. He's probably our most likely player to come in and help Josh out in the ruck. His ability to absorb the punishment of that ruck contest, allow Zach to develop, allow Tommy Nichols, Dan Gorringe to develop, and also the work, and again, not match day, but away from the match day. As I said, the stuff he does behind the scenes with our young ruck, along with Jeff White's been fantastic, and he certainly pulled his weight. And as I said, sometimes that's not always on the stat sheet. It's the whole piece of the puzzle, and I can't fault what Josh has been able to do for this footy club and our young rucks. He's 28, and he's probably used to playing most of his career like that, the way he throws himself around. So, yeah, obviously we don't want to push him over the hill, but if he can continue to get through, and look, he's been sore probably like this for the last 2 or 3 weeks really too with his shoulder, but yeah, he copped another whack on his back, and that made him sorer. But yeah, we're conscious of that too, as we got to balance the older blokes like we got to balance the young kids as well. Because he's more conditioned, he probably can work his way through it, and we can obviously monitor game time and game load. But again, with those older ones, it's harder to leave them out, of course, because then you're exposing another young kid. And again, our kids are swimming upstream as hard as they can right now. To take another experienced body out, it's not the best thing to do. But again, I don't want to push Jared Brennan over the hill. As you say, if it means he misses a week to play the rest of the season, I'd certainly do it. But if we can squeeze him through and he still plays the rest of the season, it's going to help not only him but the rest of the group as well. We'd love to bring some of that away form back home, of course, to put in front of our fans that have been so fantastic and noisy too. But as I said, sometimes that's hard to manage the psychological aspects of footballers, as we all know. But as I said, just keep pushing up the fantastic opportunity we've got, and against some of the superstars in the competition. And as I said, the young boys, they may not win the battles on the day, but they gain so much as far as experience and growth, that's for sure. You look at the makeup of the Hawthorn side themselves. Let's not forget they just recently won a premiership side, and they got premiership players in there. They know how hard you have to work, and they also know how hard you have to be. And I think they understand that you can't afford a slip up in the competition. And look, I don't think there'll be. I'm actually telling our group it's another fantastic opportunity to play against premiership players and a side that's obviously building towards another premiership very soon. So let's test ourselves. Let's go up against Hodge, Franklin, some of these superstars in the competition, Mitchell, and the list goes on. So it's a great opportunity for our boys to be tested against a side that won a flag in 2008. Nathan Bock's probably been our best tall defender. He'll have a chance, but again, what do you learn from Nathan Bock playing on him? We're going to learn so much more for a young kid having a go at him, and as I said, it's going to fast track their development. Obviously, again, I go back to making sure that we don't throw them in the deep end and they can't swim. We need to give them the tools, but again, in some cases, I think some of those young boys are ready to take on that challenge. In some cases, it's a bit of shock for some of these young boys, and I think Trent McKenzie said in an article, it's about when you know that you belong and you believe that you actually can play this game. They all understand they can play football, but at this level, and do they feel comfortable and do they belong? And sometimes you go, you get the nods and the yeses, I feel comfortable, I'm happy about this, and then as soon as they walk out, they go and see Buddy Franklin, They look at Luke Hodge, all these blokes they've been studying and following as, you know, superstars of the competition. So I have no doubt that's a bit of a shock to the system. As Kangaroos, as comfortable as that game probably seemed from everyone else's point of view, I would have thought after quarter time we hung in there. And you know, didn't allow North the same luxuries they did in the first quarter. So that's half a tick. We're not pleased with it, of course, but it's certainly something you can look at and rectify better for that first start of the quarter. He's a good chance to play. I think looked at his stats. I think he's been averaging 3 kicks and 5 handballs. He went back in the seconds. I'm not sure. Last count, it's a bit like his goal. It's gone from 55 metres out to 95 metres out now. I think his stats have gone from 25 to 35. Not that if you ask him, mind you, he's not one to blow his tyres up. But yeah, he performed really well. Did everything we asked. Again, probably he could still do with another couple of weeks, but that's how driven the bloke is. You say something to Kay and he'll get it done. And as I said, we know he's not going to be still perfect. Like well, I was about to say Gary Abley. Gary Abley's probably pretty close to being perfect, Gaz, but all the other players, they've got issues to work on too. So Kay's no different, but he went back, great attitude, performed well, and certainly has given himself a big chance to play.
Halfback or midfield? Or?
No, I'd be halfback. Yeah, that was always the plan. Just to get more touches, to get used to kicking the ball, handballing the ball in those positions, and he'll come back and certainly take his spot down back if he's going to play.